Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy Juro. It is the 19th of October, 2017. How is everybody doing? Got my morning coffee, and then you're almost at the back end of your week, and I hope that your week was well. But something crossed my mind this morning as I started my day. My significant other, we had the TV on, and they were talking about how the preparation for the University of Florida and possible events due to a speaking engagement that is going to occur. And what crossed my mind was if you didn't have a platform, you wouldn't have an audience. But it doesn't matter what the audience that you have if there's no content to be heard. So while everybody is waiting to see how things are going to play out, what crossed my mind more than ever was, what is your motivation today? Because it is becoming very, very evident that if you do not focus here, if you don't have that grounded here, it's pointless to worry about what's in your wallet. Because your ultimate cash register is right here. But I still see a blessing in this too, because, while people are taking positions and stances on what they believe and they have a right to express themselves, but a lot of times they do not see the responsibility that comes with that opinion. It's always open-ended. But what really made me take a ponder is nobody's thinking about our babies. No one's taking accountability or just reflecting on the example that we're setting. I'm a firm believer of this. When you are born, you are made priceless, and everything that you take upon, everything that you align yourself with, there is a influence. But what if that influence has no guarantee? What if that influence, there is a agenda underneath it? I saw something the other day that kind of, well, actually gave me validation on a lot of things. First of all, let me not be rude. The media did a story talking about algorithms. And for those who do not know what algorithms is, and just in a literal example, is your choices, what you are more prone to be drawn by. For example, social media. There are certain communities, there's certain things that you will come to search for. May it be here on YouTube, may it be on the internet, that you are prone to be drawn to. And, it's no surprise that even though on one side we're talking about having the right to freedom of speech, but let's make this clear. There are those that do not share your point of view, do not want to hear your point of view, and they will find uh, they'll disagree with it. And that's okay. That's okay. But when there are certain things that are occurring where you're being silenced, there are distractions put in, there are certain there's certain guidelines that are being put out there so that if you don't fit this certain category, you're silenced. So it's kind of contradictory when you think about it. And yeah, am I optimistic? Yes. Does what's going on surprise me? No, not at all. Because it still falls on the responsibility of the parent. It's still, we still got to do our job. We still have to make sure that we prepare our children. It's not society's responsibility. Still today, you turn on TV and you're going to hear something disappointing. You're going to see something that's going to piss you off. But we're not using that as a tool, a teachable moment. So the best image of ourselves can be presented. Why? It's fear. It's easier to fall into a place of convenience than look at the things that challenge us. You notice that that table is very long, family. It's very long. And you're going to find commonalities and you're going to find differences. It's your responsibility to at least be willing to bridge the gap, to understand why that person feels that way and why that person does not understand. It's about communication. But we're not communicating nowadays, now are we? And it's very disparaging because this is the example that we are setting for those who are going to come behind us. But why aren't we talking about that? You know, another thing that crossed my mind, because you have a lot of theologians out there, you have a lot of people that are very, very very versed in that sacred book. But the one thing that is never talked about is that I can give you a verse and you will take something from it that I don't see. But yet there's no discussion in it. And with that being said, not to sound winded, you know how they say, because this is the age of, we are in our last days. Let's not sneeze on that. And yes, there are going to be many people that are going to be deceived because we hear people talking about they're going to take the mark of the beast, right? But what if, just what if, it's not a literal mark? What if that mark is a state of mind? You ever thought about that? Because, see, we don't discuss that. We don't have time for that. We're burning candles on both sides of it, and then we're surprised when that proverbial shoe drops and you wonder, how did I get here? Why is this being shown? Well, I'm a strong believer of this. God gives you an opportunity when history repeats itself or is attempted to be repeated. He's asking, man, do you understand what I'm showing you? Do you understand why you are seeing what you're seeing? Do you understand what you're feeling? Because there's an action that must be required. He's giving you an opportunity to change the course of your life. not accept it for what it is. Meanwhile, you have those that have already wrote you off. You ain't gonna be nothing. You're still that same old person that I knew way back when. It's your responsibility to define that. It's no different. You hear people talk about this all the time. We got energy for it. Gerald, why is it I can't find a man? Because you refuse to find you. Let me reach the lowest listener. You want love? You got to love yourself. You got to look at those things that were called your scars and heal them. But here's the kicker on that. It is not built off of a timeline outside your door. It's defined by what's found inside you. And that's the question that still man, individual, refuses to answer. Do you know who you are? Because if you don't understand that one question, your life will not make sense. You will waste countless time, money. How about your physicality? How about your emotional safety? Until you're willing to answer the call. The call is you. You can't find safety in who you know, who you're rubbing elbows with, who you're laying next to. Nah, those people are nothing but physical reflections of your state of mind. You realize how precious you are? Because if you did, you would understand how perfect you were created. But see, I got this because I understand that some people, you're cursed. You know, like that classic movie Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence did called Life. There was a character, I can't think of my man's name, but they called him Can't Get Right. No matter what he did, he was always off the mark. But little did they see he had a natural talent, didn't he? He didn't change that. And what did it do? It freed him from his environment. Notice the whole time he was silent to the very last end. He allowed his environment to define him until he stayed the course and God made a way. I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but I know that you are meant to hear this. I don't know who convinced you that your life is supposed to be bitter. Everything around you is not supposed to last. And if this is the case, everything that you're touching is falling short, that's because God got something better. And you're not giving yourself ample time to take in what needs to be taken in. I know I make it light sometimes when I say, just say no. But you'd be surprised how many people will actually allow that word, that sacred word, to fall from their lips. It's not used as a tool to delay. That word no is really under review. Because if it's not of your standards, why are you accepting it? I'll do one better. If all you're seeing is drama, all you're hearing is drama, all you're feeling is drama, that is an apparent sign spiritually for you to motivate you to leave it. But you want to allow people to talk you to think to stay. Who am I talking to? If you have not been able to spawn growth in the environment you're in, if that environment does not inspire the best you. Why are you there? You don't get a gold star for being a hero in, well, I can take the most pain. I can be the best doormat. I can just roll with the punches. Maybe you ain't supposed to get punched. Maybe you are the one that is going to change the course of your family tree. You ever thought about that? It's very obvious. Everybody gravitates to you for what? Oh, you always got good advice, huh? It's because that's your spirit. And just like Janet said, and that's the way love goes. I'm off to a flame, drawn by the fire. Well, that fire is your spirit. But why can't you see it? Why can't you embrace what your desire is? Do you know who you are? Because if you did, you would find safety in that. It's okay. Maybe this is the moment that you'll finally give yourself permission to be still. How about this? Why don't you cut this off? I'll do you one better. When's the last time you went through this thing? Because it's a tool. Looked at those people that have access to your life and warrant the question, do you deserve to hear my breath? This is not being me. This is being practical. And those people that are found in there, do they see your worth? Do they see your value of your existence? This is a question only you know. Because if they're only hanging around because they are a tool, they're not serving you. The people that are in your life should be the example of what defines growth. They shouldn't be holding you back. They should be walking alongside with you. They should be the ones that undoubtedly speak truth. I would rather for someone to know how I feel and they know that they can find safety in what I convey to them because I've got their best interest than for me to live a lie and watch them do this. But we have this mindset of, well, misery loves company. Well, how's that been working out for you? Or better yet, why is it that they're not around no more? But trust and believe when I tell you this. Do not think for 1 second they ain't watching. Because they are. And they feel in a certain kind of way. And some of it could be just plain fear. Another part of it can be just envy. You'd be surprised how many people want to gravitate towards your life, but deep down inside, they jealous. You know why? Because they refuse to live theirs. And those are the people that are most critical. Those are also the same people that are the most broken too. So you're not going to find support there. They are actually the example of what you don't need. It's no different than a person coming to your job that you work with that all they do is complain about their work, but they don't complain when they get paid. If you're so unhappy about your job or you feel that the job that you have, why don't you use that job as a springboard to something better, something intended? That way, guess what? You're tapping in your own empowerment. But see, today, people are going to get up and they're going to go right back into that niche called despair. They're going to have nothing but negative things to say and not be able to give one positive example. Why? Because they made a choice, and that's who they are. Why you there, family? You blink twice, there's going to be snow on the ground. The seasons are shifting now. You blink twice again, you're going to be looking at spring. And since it's fall, this is the time, more importantly, you need to go within. Do those tasks that you put to the side. I got a feeling somebody right now, which is kind of, I'm not making light, but I want to point something out. Why do you have resentment for people that have done the work, but secretly you long to be with them? I'll use an example. You see people all on social media, especially on YouTube. They got these fitness videos out there and they look good. But what a lot of people don't realize is you find more excuses and critique, but you don't see that same person doing the same, the one that's critiquing. Now, and here's the reason I'm saying this, because I got to throw this out. Because when you see the clarity in this, you'll understand, well, you know what? Maybe I was doing that. Maybe I didn't understand. Like, for example, you always hear someone criticizing. Okay, I got to use gym. I got to use the gym scenario. You always hear someone got this to say, right? And not spent one moment in the gym and have not done one thing to change their living habits, like what you eat. How about rest? How about drinking your water? How about taking your vitamins? But they got a whole lot of energy. But all that does is give fuel for the person or validity to the person that's been doing it anyway. Because guess what? They don't need your permission to live better. They are living better because they're doing the work. I hear people say, well, Gerald, I would like to go to the gym, but I don't want to sweat. I don't want to mess up my hair. I don't like the environment. So basically, you don't want to change. I don't like my money situation. I'm struggling all the time, but you're not doing anything to change it. What I'm trying to say is, as long as you choose not to make the sacrifice, you can't inherit the reward. Who am I talking to? And you know where it starts? Here. Because until you're willing to combat that, your reality will not change. Your outlook won't change. I've had people tell me, you know how many times, Gerald, I went and I signed up. I and let me call a spade a spade. Matter of fact, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Because you're not going to find a judgment heart with me. You're not. I can tell you from my personal experience how much money I have willfully given out on gym memberships. I know one company, I know for at least 2 years, I paid that membership. Expensive. Did I step foot in there? No. Why? Because I chose not to. Bottom line. I didn't make it a priority. So as I started to put on the weight, the heaviest I'd ever been in my life was 255 pounds. Just so happened, I'm tall. I'm almost 6'3". So you couldn't really tell. But my midriff, I was starting to get a little tummy. And that was, I felt a certain kind of way because I was that guy that was chiseled, had that 8-pack. I didn't have a 6-pack. I had an 8-pack. I was that guy that in my 20s, I lived in the gym. I worked out 5, 6 times a week, 2 hours a day. I ate correctly. And because I had that discipline, it benefited me. Now, I'm 48 years old, family. 48, that's right. And I look at some of these guys that are my age and they look 60. But I refuse to give up this willfully. So I had to make some changes. You hear people make up so many excuses not to be, not to command their lives because of what's outside your door, what's found inside your door, and who you are aligned with. The point I'm trying to make, family, is it's still your story. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now, I'm a member of that, and I'm going to use it. But it matters not if this is not where it needs to be. Because if this is not where it needs to be, that's not going to be where it needs to be. And if that's not where it needs to be, your feet won't be planted solid. You don't need permission to better your life. It's your life. The reality is, you're going to have people, they're going to have plenty of things to say. Just look at it like this. It takes one to know one. So if they're not trying to better themselves, why are you giving your precious energy to focus on what they're doing? Your life is too short, family. So it made me think, especially with you, Queen, as precious, as fragile that you are, why are you giving so much energy to be like them? I told you a long time ago, all you got to do is focus on you and watch. Just watch. You ain't got to say nothing. Watch. And you'll watch their lives unravel. You'll see the things that you were spared from. The price, or the price tag is acceptance. because you're going to have to cut people out of your life. It doesn't matter who they know, what they look like, what they feel like, what they bring to the table. I told a guy at work, he was a military member, and he was getting ready to uh, go to a new location. Young guy, 19, not married, eyes bright to the world. And he was like, I'm a little nervous because this is my first duty station and I want to fit in. And I looked at him, I said, number one, don't rush your life. Number two, learn your job. Number three, take in your environment. Number four, love yourself. I said, you bring a whole lot to the table being single, not with, you don't have any children, you're young, and you serve the United States military. That's a lot. Do not run through your life. Don't. Excuse me. Focus on you. And he said, well, I would like to have a special somebody in my life. I said, listen, if she don't have a relationship with God, she'll never have a relationship with you. And he was shocked that I said that. I said, this is real. Because if she doesn't have a relationship with God, she don't have a relationship with herself. Therefore, she doesn't know who she is. And if she doesn't know who she is, she doesn't understand where she's going. She's setting herself up for unnecessary, undue pain. Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to come along to try to distract you from who you really are. And he took that in, shook his hand, and he got on that plane, and he's overseas now. This was just Tuesday. And I understand when you're 19, you think you got it figured out. The truth of the matter is you don't. So more importantly, it is very important that you have a spiritual relationship with you, the person in the mirror. But here's the sad thing about it. There'll be countless people that you're going to come in contact that are going to try to front. They're going to tell you what you want to hear just so that they can stay close to you. Now, I can say this, and I'm going to leave it alone. If you are putting more energy in your negativity, you can't expect your life to turn out well. But more importantly, how you going to understand what you're going to have to face if you ain't focusing on you? I know Cat Williams once said, you're not living your life correctly unless you have at least one hater. And at first I didn't understand that. And I don't like to accept it, but the truth of the matter is you're going to have somebody that's not going to like you just because of who you look like or what you are or what you stand for. But if you are standing upright, if you are living your life to the best of your ability, just take note and don't worry, because God got a way of balancing everything out. Don't be afraid of what is shown to you, because sometimes God will do that. God will allow you to walk through the fire. He will bring distraction right in front of you. but they can't touch you. And eventually, guess what? For whence they came is where they go. That's why I tell everybody, stop worrying about what's behind you. Look at your feet, what's below you, and keep going forward. Because your greatest lesson in life will be the story of your life. You got to make it important. You can't buy it in a store. You can't inherit it. It is earned through your wisdom, which comes by way of your instinct. And your instinct is nothing but your discernment that is the tool that helps guide your way. So stop worrying about what's in your wallet. You need to worry about what's inside your mind. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. You know what's really sad? There's somebody that's going to see this video and it's going to hit like a sledgehammer how much time you have wasted focusing on the people that don't matter, the people that cannot and will not and refuse to contribute to your life. Where's the loyalty there? Why are you so loyal to them? What is it about them that you can't see the greatness in you? But then again, if you're not able to answer that question, do you know who you are? Then does it surprise you what you're feeling now? Be blessed, family.